We are live. We are live. We listen. We are live. Welcome to Online Cookout. Once a game. But guess who's in the white coat today? I need y'all to pay attention to that man in the bottom left panel.
Right
he's
there,
not on the job. He's at his job. He is the boss. He that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that he was able to pop in, because when you're your own boss, you can just pop in. You could just, you know what? Let me speak to the people. So we appreciate him. Everybody, give my man Dr. Pierre a shout out. Give that man a shout out. Say hello to Dr. Pierre in the comments.
Good night to the people.
You know what I'm saying? Flexing that white coat there.
No, I'm on my job, man. So I have to definitely look professional. You know?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. We got the usuals. We got the usuals here. You know, Collins, the relationship guru. We got I'm gonna start calling him a loose cannon. I'm gonna start calling Hamilton a loose cannon, because he just be coming out the mouth all types of sideways. I don't know who raised this man. All right. So the topic of today was a continuation from yesterday. We were talking about my wife gave us a good title. Is the institution of marriage shifting? We can definitely say, well, I'm gonna let the panel decide, you know, is the institution of marriage shifting, or just people, you know, the stats are showing that people are getting married. They're getting married later too. But what is going in with the new generation? And since hopefully we have some young people coming in in the viewership, what would you say to the new generation about marriage? 1, 2, and 3 are married in here. Well, under the contract of marriage, like actual paperwork.
Okay.
See, I did that. And so what would you guys say? Well, let's start off like this. What would you say? What advice would you give to young people about marriage? Would you tell them, yo, marriage is a great thing to do, you should look for getting it done? Or would you tell them more about, hey, go handle your life, go take care of certain things first before you go ahead and get married? Go ahead.
Let the married folks talk first.
Traditionally, go first, Hamilton.
Say it again.
I'll let you go first.
And he's newly married. Hamilton, how long you been married? He's newly married. Within the past 2-3 years?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
All right. So what would you say? What would you say to somebody looking to get married in this day and age?
Well, why you pick on me first, man?
I'll go first. All right. You want to go first, Hamilton?
Nah, I don't want to go first.
Okay, so I'll go first. So I talk to my 18-year-old son about this all the time. I tell him that the advice I give to him is to at least live with the person for at least, I would say, about 4 years. I tell him it takes about 3 years to really get to know a person, and they can't hide their true intentions and true selves for more than 3 years. In the 4th year, 3 going into 4, that's when you figure out whether or not you want to stay with them for the rest of your life. Because let's suppose you get married, and this has happened to me. I've been married twice, right? This is my second marriage, legally, right? And both times I proposed, obviously. And the first time, I would say I didn't know the person. I thought I knew them. I didn't live with them long enough to know them. The second time, I didn't live with the person. And then when I got married to them, I was just like, wow, it's a totally different individual. So I would recommend to any young person that you actually get to know that individual before you put a ring on their finger. Back in the day, I remember my first wife, her mom would say, you guys need to stop shacking. Well, I encourage my kids to shack, including my daughter, because you need to get to know that person. That person might tell you, like we were saying yesterday, I have good credit, or I have my finances together. I have plans of going off and becoming a neurosurgeon. When really and truly, the person's a bum. They have bad grades. They might be dyslexic. You don't know anything about that individual until you live with them, right? So get to know that person. I'm not just, oh, I went out on a couple dates, she's the one for me, and she just gives me that dopamine rush, that she makes, she gives me that high. I get my serotonin starts going crazy whenever I'm with her. No, you get to know that individual, see what they're about. They might be the prettiest individual, right? And in their house, they're dirty. They just don't like to clean, right? So I would recommend that you get to know that person. I would say about 4 years of living with that person before you decide to sign that contract. And that's just my philosophy. Hamilton, you can take away.
I'm speechless, man. I can't even man. I don't know what I would tell somebody about marriage. Like, I don't know.
But look, since Ham a little scared,
let me.
Hey,
go ahead, College.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I can hear, and we all can hear, because we all spiritual beings, what's behind Hamilton's hesitation, because it's hard to be a Ford dealer and a Ford car owner, and then talk about like, hey, do I sell a Ford? It's like, dang, I know how hard it is to drive a Ford, man. Like, I know how hard it is. So I think 9 says, I think marriage shouldn't be something you commit to within a short amount of time. Get to know that person. Yeah, just like Dr. Pierre said. I would say this though. I don't recommend marriage, like traditional marriage, to any human being. From a standpoint of relationship. If you're going to get married, I would say, look, man, let that be a business decision, and that's it. That's the only reason why. Like, oh, do you need to get a tax break on something? You guys are already together. You guys are already committed. Do you want to get a tax break on something? Then go ahead and sign the paper and do that stuff, because the institution of marriage is not about love. It's not about a connection. It's not about any of those things. It's about money. It's about property, ownership, like inheritance. That's what it's about. That's what it's always been about. That's what the origin of marriage was about. That's not what a commitment is about, but that's what marriage is about. Like the tradition, that pagan tradition of marriage. Right now, as it gets introduced into the people of like culture, of Christian culture and things like that, that was one of them things during the times of Exodus that was incorporated into what the Israelites did, but that wasn't the tradition of the children of Abraham or the God of Abraham and stuff like that. That wasn't a tradition, even though those are the ones that are banging the hardest for it. Like probably in these days and ages, like they're actually banging the hardest, they're the loudest about, oh, you should be married. If you don't get married, then blah blah blah, blah. You're a harlot. You guys are just out here shacking up, you're doing bad things. But the idea of commitment, now that's what I'm about, and that's what I share with people. Is like, look, I'm committed to my queen. And what does that look like? That looks like no matter what happens in life, I'm gonna work it out. And that's what it used to be. Like, hey, I see you, you see me, we lay together, we bond, that's who we're gonna be, and that's what it is. There was no, I don't feel you anymore, I'm upset about this, and therefore now I'm gonna get a divorce. Like, you worked it out, whatever it was, you had it, you dealt with that as a family, as a unit, no matter how many people were there. Right? So yes, I would say Venetia asked, so should we only get married for tax breaks? I would say yes. Like, let it be an addition, like an agreement that's an addition to your already established like your commitment that you guys have made to each other, right? So for instance, I'm going for my citizenship in Grenada, right? Which I'm already a citizen by birth, by bloodline, because my father was born in Grenada, right? But in order for me to get a Grenadian passport, I have to register as a citizen. Now, in order for my queen, who I'm committed to for life, in order for her to be able to also get that same citizenship so that we can go to Grenada without getting some kind of vaccination or things like that, where they can't stop us from coming in if we don't get vaccinated. She has to be married to me in order to get that, right? So it's not to the point where I'm just against the whole idea of marriage, but like that's going to be for a specific purpose of, oh, well, I want her to be able to be a citizen of my homeland, my country, right? So that she can be able to go there and be with me at any point in time. She can live there. My land is her land, and that's one that we're one in that fashion. So, but it's only for the paperwork, and I always make that clear. Like it's literally only for the paperwork. So I think that it's really important for people to understand what commitment is and what is commitment. Commitment is, yeah, I mean, well, the idea again. So let me break it down. Like if you work with somebody, you live with somebody, you're there, you bond. Like Kavan says, Dr. Pierre says, say you're with that person for 3-4 years. Hey, I can spend the rest of my life with this person. Then you make a commitment to that person. You can have a commitment ceremony. You can say, hey, I just want all the family to come together, just acknowledge our commitment, right? But that second part of marriage, where now you're bringing in some legalities and you're bringing in an institution that is outside of your circle. You're bringing in government, you're bringing in politics, you're bringing in all of these other money and all of these things that aren't a part of the core bond of a working relationship. And so like separate those two things in your mind, because that if you don't do that, what happens is people will get together because they love each other. They'll go ahead and get married. They'll have issues with each other. They don't know how to resolve those issues. They don't have conflict resolution skills. Their communication is off. Like they're just not in the same school of thought. And then they say, oh, well, I'm not feeling the same way about you. And now let's divorce.
Yeah.
And that's the part. And then now you probably have kids by that time. And then so you have kids coming up in a situation where now they got separate households or angering households within the household. And so I think that's something that, we can stop that generational curse from keep on getting passed down and inherited. What's up, Bomika? Hey. Yeah. So my recommendation is like, look, first get your bond together, get your relationship skills together, get your communication skills together. Venetia asked Colin, so people are supposed to just believe an oral commitment because someone said I'm committed to you. Absolutely. And the only reason why you believe that is because you've already talked to this person, seen their word be kept over and over and over and over again. Not just because somebody said, hey, baby, I love you, I'm committed to you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like at first I was like,
yeah, like you have to like if someone says, hey, I'm going to be home at 9:00 and they're not home at 9:00 and they don't honor their words, like, hey, I said I was going to be here at 9:00 and I wasn't here at 9:00. I broke my word. This is what I'm going to put in place. Like there's a whole establishment of communication skills and a whole establishment of history that could warrant you taking somebody's word. But at the end of the day, all you have is their word, because I got my paper. My paper says what? I'm supposed to be committed to you for life. And then what happens? People still get divorced. So that paper doesn't mean anything. That paper's not saving.
And I'm going to say this, Collins, what V is saying, you don't think people are more likely to walk out on just verbal commitment. Now, I'm a type of person, I don't take anybody at their word. Even it takes, like Colin said, you have to establish a level of commitment. And I think this generation, a lot of people are not true to their word anyway. Dr. Pierre said something as well, living with someone. And I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand about the length of time to get to know someone. But even in the length of time doesn't mean you get to know someone. I once read that you really get to know someone when you're with someone through all their states of emotions, right? You've been with them. You know what they look like when they cry. You know what they look like when they get angry. You know who they are when they're sad. You know what they are when a person is broke. You know when a person got money. Like, so when people are in a relationship and when they first meet they say their man and he has money. Okay, you feel like you know him. Then he goes broke. Then he starts calling you out of your name and you say, I didn't think you would do that, because you never knew him when he was broke. Right? So when you're with someone through all their states of emotions, this is when you actually begin to know someone. So you could be with someone for 4 years and never see that person cry, never see that person get angry, and then you decide to commit to that person and marry that person. And throughout the marriage, this person gets hit with some hardships. And now this person becomes, well, I'm not going to say become because he's already that person. This person
reveals themselves.
The other side of themselves. And this is a person that now you're like, oh, I can't be with this person. So I get the length of time, but it's also different states of emotions. And that, that is based on how open that person is to you and how long they can hold a facade. Like people can hold a facade for a
They
very
can
long
hide
time.
that easy.
You know, I can. You got some people out there that can act for 10 years. You know, you got men and women that have whole other families and kids out there the person never even knew. And you know what I'm saying? You find out that 20 years later when somebody's kid showed up at the graduation and it looked just like him. You know, so I get it. I don't want people. I wouldn't tell a person to be so focused on a timeline. I would say you got to be more in tune with yourself. And this is why I don't believe in high school relationships. I don't believe in teen relationships. I don't believe in any of those things because you're a bunch of young people trying to figure out who you are as a person or trying to create who you are as a person. And now you're dealing with another person who still doesn't know or still hasn't created who they are. And now you're two people who don't know shit about shit. You get what I'm saying? And trying to control each other. That's not the way to do it. The best way to go about to do it is go through the journey of life, create who you are, discover who you are, go through even all your states of emotions, because a lot of people haven't been through certain states of emotions and don't even know how they will respond to certain elements that come their way. So I tell young people, listen, take your time. First, find out who you are as a person. Love yourself as a person, because if you don't love yourself 100%, like love yourself, you can't possibly love anybody else in the way that they should be loved. And that's what I say.
Yes. Yeah, and to just directly answer that question that Venetius had about honoring the, like, you know, don't you think that it's easier to walk out on a verbal commitment? I mean, that paper doesn't actually save anyone because we have all of those divorces to talk about. So if they're going to walk out, they're just going to straight up walk out. They're, you know, these are the things that's just what's so. Now we'll give people a little hacks for those that be like, yo, but I love my man and I want to get with him right now. You know, I don't want to wait 3-4 years. You know, but I would say this, like, you have to really ask yourself, like, what is my skill level when it comes to relationships? Like, do I know how to fix problems? Because in life there are problems. So if you don't know how to fix problems, like how to deal with problems that come up when those real scenarios come up, because hey, poverty can come out of nowhere, wealth can come out of nowhere, you know, and then you're not able to actually deal with those shifts and those changes. And like Jamari said, like, hey, they might be a different person or might act differently when they have different circumstances. You know, I'm sorry, I didn't get to see that last comment, Jamari.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, so definitely can agree on living life and finding who you are instead of trying to run into a relationship so young, says LaChene.
And this is another one that came up. Hold on, give me 1 second.
So do you believe it's possible for a high school relationship to work? No, it's
not.
Yes.
High school, listen, high school relationships definitely can work. There are, but you got to understand this. What are the odds? How many people do you know that had high school relationships and they stayed in those relationships to this day? Is it possible? Of course. Is it likely? No. But there are always going to be an exception to a rule. My thing is, again, it's best to be free. My dad used to tell me this: be free, get to know yourself before you sit here and be chasing girls. Get to know yourself before you go out here chasing boys. Because again, listen to the word I'm saying. You're chasing boys, and he's chasing girls. So you keep wondering why all men are boys. No, you're dealing with the boy. You're still dealing with the boy. He's not a man yet. No matter if he looks like a man or not, he's not a man yet. And no matter if she looks like a woman or not, she's not a woman yet. She got to go through some shit first. He got to go through some stuff. You got to learn who you are as a woman. He has to learn who he is as a man.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult thing to tell someone that's young. You know, hey man, you're not ready for marriage yet. But at the same time, because those are the times, those feelings are really, really strong. It's your first relationships, and you're getting into it, and you get crazy, crazily infatuated with the person. The difference between infatuation and love, I'll just create that. Like, in love is, I'm in love with you. I really, you could be in love with a celebrity you know, that you've never even met, never talked to. You got a poster of them, you're getting infatuated with them. That's in love. That's an intense feeling of like. That's like, I like you, and then I really, really like you. It turns into in love. Love, on the other hand, is like, you can love your mom, you can love your brother, you can love your sister, you can love your husband, and you can love your wife, but it's a different emotion, it's a different vibration. And that's like, that space has to be delineated, and it's so hard to delineate that when you're young, because you think automatically infatuation equates to love. Because this person's really intensely attracted to me, that means that I love them, and that's by design. Like, if you watch every movie, like, I challenge everybody who's here, watch a movie and watch them profess their love for someone, and within 30 seconds max, you're gonna hear them say the word in love. They say, I'm in love with you. I've loved you since. Right? These are two different things, but they say it on purpose to demolish it. I'm telling you, it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but they say, like, if it happens every single time, it's not a theory, man. Like, if you can stop somebody from learning the difference between love and in love, you can basically control their whole family dynamic, because they don't know the difference, and you can just mess that up, and then you got slaves for the rest of your life. Like, you have them because they're always going to be struggling and separated. They were not going to be able to be together and build families and live off of the bountifulness that a family can create. They're going to be struggling separated by themselves. And you break down the individual family, you break down the community, and you just got a bunch of people wandering around trying to survive. So, Christina,
I think.
says,
Go ahead, Ham. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to read the comment and somebody else.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So,
Christina Laverty says, whether a high school relationship will work will depend on how you both mature. If you mature in a similar nature, it is possible, but the chances are slim. It's not impossible, though. Yeah, true. It's not impossible.
Nothing's impossible. Go
ahead.
I think we made the idea of marriage difficult. I think as intellectual beings, we made it complicated with how we live today. Because remember, you break everything down to basic instinct, and it's just meant for survival. That's it. It's a survival thing. So we're running around here now. Women running out here by themselves, having their careers. Where's the family? Like, what you gonna leave behind to the generations to come? You didn't even start a generation. Like, so break it down to like, it's survival. It's so you can procreate, and so you have something that comes after you. Because think of everybody before us, man. Like how the Rome. Think about Rome. Right? Everything they did then, everything the Greeks did, even though these people warred with each other, they still passed all their stuff down to where we got to today. It took them for us to be where we are today with technology, with how we are, our mental capacity. Like, that's what marriage, okay, break it down to marriage, but yeah.
I get what you're saying. Me and you talked about this before, that human beings have complicated relationships and being with each other. When at the core thing, it is to create, like we said before, on a cellular level, your cells just want to replicate and create more cells. On a macro level, we're doing the same thing. The only difference is we're sentient beings, and we have the capacity to decide this is conducive. My environment that I'm currently in is conducive to procreate, or my environment is not conducive for me to procreate. Although there are some stupid human beings that will still procreate in environments that are not conducive for them to procreate. Dr. Pierre, what you got to say? V said she wanted.
So
mute your mics. I hear feedback. Mute your mics, please. Go ahead, doctor.
So on the topic of individuals dating in high school, what I would tell my kids when they get to that stage, if they're dating in high school or they come home to me, because I remember being young and saying one day to my mom, was my foster parent, I told her, I said, I'm just in love with this girl. I'm going to marry her one day. And she looked at me and she said, oh, she's like, these girls at this age don't even know what they want to eat. How you know that she's going to be in love with you in years to come? He's like, these relationships don't work. And at first I was thinking to myself, she's a bit crazy. But looking back, 23, 24 years later, she was spot on. You know, high school relationships are like a meal. You can't eat the same thing every day. Eventually you get fed up of it. You get tired of it. You want to try something new, right? It might the relationship might taste good for a couple of days, a couple of months, maybe even a year or two, but afterwards it goes out the door. You guys remember there was a video probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where there was a guy in high school. He put a promise ring on his girlfriend's finger because she was headed off to college. Anybody remember that video? You know, it's pretty. Jamar, you should try to pull it up. Type in guy puts promise ring on girl's finger before she goes off to college, and there were mixed reviews. Some people were laughing. Some people said, he's crazy. When she goes to college, she'll forget about him, right? Some people say it's a good gesture. I wouldn't recommend to any of my kids to try to lock somebody down at that age, because again, it's like a meal. It's okay to eat it 1 day, 2 days, but in a week or two, which in terms of relationship could be a couple months, they may get tired of that relationship. They may want to try something new. So I wouldn't tell my kids to take a high school relationship serious. Now, take it as serious as they can, but not to the point where if they lose that person or that person decides to move on with their life, then they fall into a deep state of depression, right? Speaking of which, there's a drug for that, by the way. If ever you get your heart broken, you go to the doctor and tell them that Dr. Pierce said to give you 1 milligram of Ativan 3 times a day as needed. And trust me, you'll see that person walking by you with another person and don't feel no type of way. And it works. It's the truth. I'm telling you the truth. So there's drugs for heartbreak. I'm telling you, there is.
Funny, man.
Go ahead, doctor.
Yeah, and that's all I have. I wouldn't tell anybody young to take a relationship at the teenage level or even early 20s that serious, right? Because people change.
Bo, I'm gonna shift to you, and then after you, I'm gonna go back to the comments. Okay.
Okay.
Unmute yourself. Okay.
Okay. So I just walked in. So the topic is about relationship at a young age, high school. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. What would you?
I'm following everybody.
Yeah. What type of advice would you give young generation?
I'd have to agree, being the only female, but I'd have to agree with most of you. My thing about relationships at a young age is at a teenage or even your early 20s, you're still living the fairy tale that you was fed as a child. Most girls are groomed to look for the prince in the Disney stories, the knight in shining armors. Most boys are groomed to be in a relationship. As a man, you have to be a provider, you have to be this, you have to be that, or whatever. Not every female is looking for a provider. Some females are looking for emotional attachment. Not every female is looking for a man in the knight in shining armor. Not every guy wants to be a provider. You know what I'm saying? But you have to take time to figure it out for yourself. But the thing is, in our society, we groom our children to believe these things. We raise our children to believe these things. And then when they get into relationships and they tell themselves, well, because I picked you and because you picked me, then we're supposed to live happy after. And when that doesn't happen, they don't know how to, maneuver from that, because this is what they've been told all their life. And I think that no, you shouldn't be in a relationship. One thing I told my daughter is when she was in high school and she was having those feelings and she was liking boys, and she did that. I'm in love, and I told her, never be with nobody for love. And she said, Mom, that doesn't make sense. I said, it makes perfect sense, because love is the most dangerous and the most unstable emotion you have. If you hate something, right? You can hate something. You'll hate it for your whole life, right? Rarely do you hate something and then end up loving it later, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can love something and end up hating it. You can love something, huh?
I said what they say is a thin line.
Right. You can. Love can send you into different emotions. You know what I'm saying? So, we get that feeling. It's the what I call the butterfly concept. You get those butterflies in your stomach, and oh, that's love, and oh, and this is who I'm supposed to be with. But the realization is them butterflies don't last forever. And them
No.
butterflies can change into stones like that if the person, you know what I'm saying, mistreats you or treats you some different
Oh,
way. So, you know, I,
especially in high school. And there's a question down the road I want to get to. But let's do Rodney Foster. Has anybody found themselves having to learn their spouse, partner, over again due to changes in maturity, life, interests, etc.? Oh, that's dope. That's a dope
yeah.
question. Um, I would say, Rodney, I said it earlier today, when I talked about knowing your spouse through all different stages of emotions, right? And that your spouse or your partner, they always were that person, but you never seen them in that state of emotion, right? So I'm gonna give you a great story, real quick. So I'm in college. My wife don't get mad at me because I wasn't with her at this time. Uh, I'm in college and I'm with this Jamaican girl, Collins, Kavon, and my my sister calls, my younger sister calls, and she tells me that our greyhound, which is the dog, died. Right, he got cancer and he died. And so I hang up the phone. I can barely contain myself. You understand? I can barely contain myself because it's my dog. And so when I hang up the phone, my dad got on the phone. I hung up the phone. I said, "Yo, dad, my voice is crackling." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call you back. Yeah, dad. Yeah, love you too, man." I hang up the phone. And she said, "What happened?" I said, "Yo, my dog died." So I'm just bawling in her lap, just crying. So I'm saying, "My dog, my dog, my dog." She think it's a person. When she finds out that I'm boohooing over a dog, she's like, "What?" You know? But I wasn't ashamed. I love that damn dog. I wasn't ashamed. But that's just another state of emotion that she was able to see about me that she wasn't aware of, because on campus I'm this track star, macho, aggressive type person. And it's another state of emotion that she was able to see, that he cried when he lost something. And if you don't see anybody when they lose something, it changes them. When somebody is they may be going to college, or seeking a higher level of education, or they're trying to better themselves, and then they begin to change again. And if they're changing while you're staying the same, we said it yesterday on the pod that Einstein says the only thing in the universe is constant is change. But if you're not changing with them, you may be seeing that gap between you. Look at my guy back there. You may see that gap between you and your loved one growing and growing and growing, because you're staying somewhat stagnant in comparison to them. So it will require you to relearn who this new person is becoming, because they're becoming a new person. Go ahead.
One thing that I wanted to share specifically in that question that Rodney Foster Jr. asked is the queen that I'm with now, we were together off and on for about 15 years. I believe it's got to be at least 15 years now. And during one of the times that we were on, I went through my spiritual awakening. I literally met God, and I was a completely different, shifted person after this experience. And not only was I like, just my concept of life was shifted, and she had to learn me as this enlightened being, as opposed to the crazy, angry, super passionate about music Collins, and then now I'm this different dude. That concept, and it wasn't even a different dude, like it's just my spirit came forward more, and my ego, my identity, that character went to the background, as opposed, it used to be like this, right? And for her, it was definitely a shift, because I mean, especially when one of the revelations that I got out of that 7-day ordeal was that I could have 4 women. And that was like a shift, because I was never someone that was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get a bunch of women. I wasn't even a player. Like I had literally only cheated on 2 of my girlfriends, and it was with my ex-girlfriends. And like that just wasn't my thing.
Only 2. Only 2.
No, I mean, I had by that time
I'm
I had
messing.
15 like serious relationships by that time. You know, so, and not to say that excuses it, you know what I mean, but I didn't know. I didn't know what to do in those situations. Again, I was young, I was stupid. I didn't really know how to communicate. I didn't know how to create opportunities and be open about being poly, or maybe we could have more than one, or I'm not jealous or you're jealous, but let's talk about it. I didn't know that those were options. I didn't know that was a paradigm that could exist. And she had to learn me, and I also had to learn her from that new space that I was in. So I shifted. She was still the same, and now I'm like, hey, babe, life is fantastic on this side. Why don't you come over here on this side? Because I used to be right there in that normal human experience, and now I'm over here where life is amazing, as opposed to life is garbage. You know, and so that is where communication comes in. You know, and that is something that you guys gotta work on with yourselves and learn. You know, take classes, man. Like, hey, y'all can reach out to me, and as long as I'm alive, I'll still teach you. You know what I do. But there's other books out there and things like that where you can learn how to communicate. One of the other things is Landmark Forum. Like everybody out there should go to Landmark Forum, which they'll teach you about your brain and how it's messing you up. And then we could learn, once those shifts happen, how to still relate to that person once they're making them shifts. Like, oh, now they got money. Now they a little different. Now they're not home as much. They used to be all around me and cuddling up, but now they tired as soon as they come home because the career took off. You know, or maybe they were always out hustling and bustling and things are good and life is nice. And now I can stay home and chill, and you can't stand being around each other. That's why COVID like messed up a bunch of relationships, because they're like, yo, I'm not used to being around this person for this long. So yeah, that's something that you guys could do, and I'll pass it off. Christina Leverity says, "Do you believe that relationships work best if you put friendship first?" Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Go ahead, Kay.
I don't agree with that. I would say about 4 really good female friends, right? I mean, amazing. I have a best friend out of all of them. She's probably listening now, but I couldn't see myself being romantically involved with any of them, and simply because they have a purpose in my life. You know, when I want a female to vent to about issues with a female, then I call them and be like, hey, why a woman like this? And they'll tell me in no uncertain terms, like, why? You know, and sometimes they'll do certain things that I'm like, yeah, if I was in a relationship with you, you'd want some teeth, you know? So they're there for a reason, and I couldn't see myself being romantically involved with them. So I've heard people say, your friends, you should fall in love with a friend. For me, I couldn't see that going beyond that friendship. To me, it wouldn't work. They have their purpose, and I wouldn't take them. It's almost like as though you're having lunch for dinner. It's different. At least for me.
I think.
Go ahead.
Relationship is friendship. I would say, like, and if it's not, then why are you in the relationship? Like, it's a special kind of relationship, and maybe an intimate type of friendship, but it's still founded on friendship. I think you can, like, you're always learning something about the person. I don't think, like, you have to learn over again. Like, you're just always learning something about your partner. Like, it's impossible for them not to change and for you not to go on that journey of their change.
Oh, I like that.
You're still learning things about yourself. I did things 8 years ago that 10 years before that I didn't think I would do. I'm saying it again. I did things 8 years ago that 10 years before that I wouldn't have thought I would do.
That's a fact.
So let me ask this question. Would you talk to your wife the same way that you talk to your female friends?
No.
So then it's not a friendship, really.
No, listen, it's a, go ahead, Bo. Before I go, I'm gonna let Bo go. Go ahead, Bo.
Oh, So I'm gonna give you an insert of the book by Rita Marling. She was the wife of Bob Marley. So in her memoir, she said, if you know anything about Bob Marley was a womanizer and he had a bunch of illegitimate children, plus the children that he had with her. At one point, he was dating a female. She was a Caucasian female. She was a model or something like that. He had a son by him, Julian, I believe.
Yeah,
So
Damien.
they were supposed to be, Bob was running around with this woman. Now Rita was a backup singer for Bob. So they're on tour and Bob is up front on this bus with this woman and Rita's in the back. Right? She's the wife and her husband's in the front with this other woman or whatever. So this is things that she went through a lot. Somebody told her to leave Bob. And she was like, Rita, you going through all this stuff you've been going through this year. You need to leave Bob. And she said, I can't. I would never leave Bob. And they asked her why. She said, because our relationship is beyond a husband and wife. Our bond is stronger than a friendship. She was like, it's hard to explain to people who haven't experienced. I think that's what it is when you're a husband and wife. You have to have a certain bond. Not necessarily, I mean, a friendship is a part of it, but it's a bond that transcends friendship, that transcends, love and all that. It's a bond that you have. And that's the people that have that bond is the ones that stay together.
All right. I'm gonna say, Lachey, yes, it's an absolute fact. It's an absolute fact. I lost both my dogs. I lost Patch the day I graduated. That's another story. I don't even want to get on here.
You crackling up right now.
Yeah, man. Dug it out. Let me go. Hold on, Collins.
You want to go to Dr. Pierre because
I saw that comment that it's a false comparison. I would have liked that individual to no, I'm not always right. I will say that, right? And by the way, the picture
I think when you said lunch to dinner or something.
Lunch to
dinner.
That's what I was wondering which one was false, right?
Yeah.
I'm not always right. It's just my opinion and the way that I view life, right? So everybody has a different view based upon the experiences and other different factors, right? So that's why I would like to hear the individual that said, it's a false comparison, because to me, everything serves its purpose. I wouldn't pick up a screwdriver and decide to take off a hex nut with it. Just like, for me, my wife is my wife, and my female friends are my female friends, and I wouldn't see myself falling in love with them, right? 1 second.
While he gets that going,
I got a question though. What does friendship mean to you, Dr. Pierre?
Easy. I would say this because me and my wife were, I'm gonna say, best friends before we got married. And I say that because some people use friendship as a way to disguise how they romantically feel about one another.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I also told my wife that and it just depends on your relationship with your wife or relationship with your partner. Some people can just be completely and utterly honest with their mate. It's completely okay. Dang, look at that ass over there, man. Wife's like, oh yeah, she got a cute ass, and some people can't, you know what I'm saying? So I also say that at some point, it just really depends on your relationship. If you put your friendship first, that's a dangerous game too, because then you can find yourself just in a friendship and not romantically involved. And then sometimes when you have a great friendship and then you become romantically involved, you can actually ruin something that was great, which is the friendship. Because some people are better off friends than being romantically involved or sexually involved. So it's a dangerous game you play when you're mixing, like, okay, yeah, this person's my best friend, but then you become intimate, and you're going to find that things are going to change with most women and most men when intimacy comes into play. But what is this question? Go ahead, Ham.
I would say that only happens though Because somebody, one of the two, are not honest, completely honest with each other. Like,
That's a fact.
Agreed.
you got to be completely honest. Like, that's when I talk about friendship. Like, it's its own type of intimate friendship. That's not some, some people share it. They can still share themselves with other people. Polyamory. Some people say, no, you know what? You can have friends that you talk to, but we got this little special kind of intimate. I don't want you to touch nobody else. Kind of friendship. Like it's just. I think he's taking friendship wrong. Like friendship is friendship. Like you have everybody that you're in encounter with is some kind of friend to you. No matter if your mother, no matter if your father, no matter if your brother. Like it's some type of relationship, friendship that you have.
I'm gonna tell you one thing, that back in college, if I'm talking to a girl and I wanna be with her, I don't want to be your friend. Don't call me your friend. And y'all remember
You ain't
back in
lying.
school,
You ain't
The
yo,
lying.
that's
friend
my friend.
zone.
You're like, I ain't your friend. I ain't trying to be your friend, because girls start calling everybody friend. No, I ain't your friend. Like if
Mhm.
we talking, we
That's
trying to
another
get.
conversation.
Nah, I ain't trying to be your friend. Stop
That's
playing
another
with me.
conversation.
So
Calm
I
it down.
want to say this.
Go ahead, Bo.
This is personal, but our parents weren't friends. They were pen pals. Okay. And
Pen
they
pals is
got
friend.
together. Been together for 40 something plus years. They learned to be friends in their relationship. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily. I think you should get to know somebody before you commit to them, before you go there. And I think that's what dating is, getting to know somebody. But I wouldn't necessarily say you have to be friends. You know what I'm saying?
Friendship.
On the level of like friendship, because like Jamari said, if I'm dating you, I'm not your friend. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be labeled as your friend. And I agree with the doctor. I have male friends that I would never and am not attracted to because they're friends. And I do go to them when I need to know something about a guy. It's like, why, like he said, why women do something, why guy do something thing. And they're friends. They're in the friend zone. We would never be anything else. Even if they came to me and said, I'm feeling you, Bo. Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm not, because I in my mind, I already put you're my friend. You know what I'm saying? And I think in relationships, you do need a separation. There is stuff you're not gonna come to your wife with that you might go to your girlfriends with. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa.
Let me give
So that's what my take is.
I
let
wanted
me
to.
let me give a definition of friend real quick, because I think y'all misunderstanding the definition of friend. Friend
Go
is a
ahead, give it to me.
person whom one knows and with whom one has a bond of mutual affection,
Mhm.
typically is exclusive of sexual or family relations.
Very much.
So friendship it encompasses all every relationship that you have encompasses friendship. It's
Not
just
really,
different
because
type.
okay,
It
but your
it just
wife,
says bond of
you're
mutual
having
affection.
relations with your wife. You're having relations. You want to have a relation with somebody that you're going to marry, right?
Yeah,
But a
yes.
friend, you don't want to have. You have a bond, but not necessarily.
That's not true though, too, because a friend is it's just a different type of friendship. It's a mutual affection that is intimate sexually.
First. That's friendship.
You may
So
not do that with all your friends. Your other friends are just people that are family members that you talk to.
They
Like,
could be
but
your
it's
friends though. They could
Let
be your
uh,
friend.
all
Your
right.
that's what I'm
family
saying.
members.
Like
Yeah.
everybody is like, unless they're your enemy, they're your friend.
Well,
so
let me bring a clarification here. All right. So this is one of the things that I like to teach all my clients. Get down to the foundations of the definitions and the understandings of the terms that you are sharing with other people. All right, because then where the conflict comes is when we have miscommunication about something. So if someone says, "Well, I'm a friend," like for Jamari, he might be like, "Friend means I don't get to have any intimate relations with you." For someone else, that could be a criteria for you to have relations, right? So let me give you a healthy definition or healthy delineation, like a discernment between the two. A friend, you can have sex with a friend if you want to. You cannot have sex with a friend if you want to. You can have a wife and not have sex with the wife, or a husband. And this happens. This happens. This actually happens in reality. Like, and somebody says there's something wrong with that. they'll go on and they'll say, oh, well, it's been 5 years, and then we used to have sex every day. And then now he barely touches me. We might have it once a month. And then they think that because of that shift, there must be something wrong with their relationship. And therefore now they got to think about divorcing and separating. And that's not necessarily the case. The problem that human beings have is this definition thing, where we're incorrectly and inaccurately defining things for ourselves and then pushing those definitions and limitations that those definitions encompass onto others. So for one person, like for Ham, this is the prime example. Like Ham over here says, well, friendship means this. Bo down here says, well, friendship means this, but I don't want to do this thing if I have the friendship. And then Jamari over here says, friendship means that I can't do these things. And then all of these people are coming together. And then some of them are trying to have sex and some of them are trying not to have sex. And they're trying to say, oh, well, I want to have this. And they can have this conversation. Let's give a solution to all you human beings out there. Your definition is your definition. Everybody else's definition is their definition. So start asking them, what does friendship mean to you? Like, have that base thing, because we think we're all speaking the same language.
That's what I asked Pierre originally. I
have a story. Jamari, I need you for this one.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell this story. You might laugh and you might remember this, and you should. So I knew Jamari when him and his wife were just friends. And I'm talking about really good friends, right? Then one day, him and his wife were in the cafeteria having lunch, right? You remember, Jamari? And I say, they were supposed to be friends. I didn't know that they had decided not to be friends anymore, right? And started dating. So I said to Jamari, look at that girl over there, right? This fine girl that walked by. And instead of Jamari looking, he did like this. And then I looked at his wife, and his wife was like, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a You guys. And then they just both looked at me, and I put one and one together and made two. They were no longer friends. They had a relationship that crossed over.
Well, let's just
Pierre,
say
what does friendship
also added sex to their.
But I don't know if they were having sex at the time.
Oh, hey, you know.
I knew at that point there was a commitment because he couldn't look anymore. And there were times before me and him could sit in the cafeteria and look, and those days were over.
Well, hey, so what does friendship mean to you, Pierre?
To me, I'm very selective. I'm very selective with my friends. A friend to me is someone that I can depend on and that can depend on me. Someone that
yes.
Could that be a wife?
It could be.
Could it be a wife?
It could be. I could depend on my wife for some things, and some things I would call my best friend before I call my wife. I mean, and it's just being honest, right? Like I said, one person, like I think it was Jamari that said this earlier. One person can't. No, Collins. Collins did say this last night. One person. I said
it.
Jojo said. Jamari said it.
Give my flowers, man. Stop playing with me.
Fulfill all your needs, right? So, to me, a friend is somebody that I can depend on, right, and that can depend on me. Like they know if they said it, it's coming. I don't have to be like, well, I hope they did it. I hope it's coming. And they know if I said, hey, I'm going to do something. Guess what? It's happening, right?
Trashy TV.
You can call me the baby as long as I have the money, and even if I don't, I'll borrow it.
Yeah.
So your wife is your friend.
In
certain instances, yeah. In others,
well, no. For him, let me ask you this, Dr. Perry. For him, for you, you have a delineation of who you can be completely honest with, and that Venn diagram doesn't include your wife. Right? Like completely 100% honest with.
There are certain things I cannot be completely 100% honest with my wife. Because
why? Why is that though?
Why is that?
You know why. You know why.
Here, listen though. This is the thing though. See, I tell my wife everything. I don't care what it is. I'm telling you, I tell her everything. She know everything. She know my mind completely because I say everything to her. Now people say you shouldn't do this.
He's capping.
I am not capping. Take the cap off. Cap off with it. I tell my wife everything.
Listen,
And
no,
I did
you
this.
should not. You should
No,
definitely not.
listen.
You should
she
not.
knows who I am. She knows who I am. I know who she is. Well, from the most part, I don't know if she tells me everything in her mind, though. I know that I'm telling her everything in my mind, though. So she knows me completely. Completely. Good and bad.
Go ahead, Bo.
So, in a relationship, Colin
Linda.
said this yesterday. He said in a relationship, you should give 100%. You give 100 and the person give 100%. I'm gonna disagree with that. You give 85 and the person get 85. You always keep some part of yourself to yourself. This is what I learned from my mother. My mother always told me, "You don't never give a
That's
man
dishonesty.
you."
Well, I don't think that that's what he meant when he said that.
Well, I'm telling you, you do not. He talking about he tell his wife everything. I tell my wife everything. We go through everything. You go in, honey. That is a road for disaster. You should never.
That is dishonesty. And
no.
Listen. Wait. You just said what you said. You said you give 85% and you keep 15 for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you go to the store. We're gonna go to the scenario here. You go to the store. You got $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way that you're able to buy that gift for your partner is to give him that whole $1, right? If you give your mate 85 cents and tell him go purchase this, and I got my 15 cents and we go purchase it, split it up. You can't turn that coins in for that $1. I mean, for that gift. He said you want that $1, the whole $1 itself. You're split in two. You're giving them 85% of yourself, but you keep the 15 that you keep behind is not you still. They still don't know you. They'll never know you because
you're never gonna know somebody. That's the thing. You're never gonna know somebody.
Give it a
you
chance,
always keep a peep. Listen to me. You always, and mothers tell their daughters this all the time. Now, maybe because y'all men, y'all don't get this, but a mother will always tell her daughter, you always keep a part of yourself to yourself. You do not give a man 100% because once he got all of that, like I told my daughter, you keep this for yourself. If that's 10%, 15%, whatever, you always keep this for yourself. Because when a man gets your mind, he'll never get it back, and that's control. And men
those are all that's fear.
That's what they
do. What you're saying.
Okay. All right, we gonna come back to that because you get into the whole part of man controlling and that.
No, I'm saying you always should keep a part of yourself.
Let me get to the comments. The comments are buzzing. They want Dr. Pierre because somebody said
one person asked
back on the mic. Answer that question. Why?
Right. Yeah. Correct. Right. I'm
Mr. White.
Hey, this is coming for you.
You coming?
Coming for you.
Okay. So the question is, she asked me if I could depend on my wife. So today is the 14th. Tomorrow's the 15th. Saturday, the phones are going to get cut off if I don't pay it. Well, here's what. I'm not waiting for my wife to pay this because for the past 12 months, guess what happens on the 16th? It gets cut off, right? So I bet if I tell my best friend, hey, my phone bill is going to get cut off, make sure it's paid by the 15th. Guess what? It'll be paid by the 1st. Yeah. Just because it's a different type of person. My best friend is more dependable financial-wise in terms of like a bill is going to get paid because guess what? That's how they were raised. My wife didn't have that when she was raised. So if I tell her and say, hey, I need you to pay this XYZ, I better double check because it's not going to get paid. You see what I'm saying? When you say dependable, it changes. That's why I say I have my female friends. You know, one person cannot fulfill your every need, right? I would have kids with my wife. I wouldn't have kids with my female friends, ever, right? It's just different. Right, she's dependable for kids, right? And that's just how it is.
I'll say this. So,
my best friend is a woman. She's actually listening.
Yeah. So I would say this. One of the biggest problems that we have, like alluding back to what I was saying before, is that one of the biggest problems we have is these labels that we give our relationships. Right now, what Ham was saying was like, hey, everybody's a friendship. I was saying, no, everybody's a relationship, and then some people you can have a friendship with those people that you have a relationship with. Your relationship to this human being could be that they are your enemy. That's a relationship. Like, this is the person that I'm warring with, or this is the person that I know is out to kill me. That's a relationship because you're relating to that person. So I'll break down the barrier, the bottom level of what a relationship is how you relate to another human being. That's it. So some people have father-daughter relationships, have friend relationships, and all these things are different criteria that you can define. But what all these labels do is put boxes in. And the problem of the box thing that we have as human beings is, if I put this box over here that says I am a friend, for that person, for their definition, there's all this world possibility outside of this box that I now cannot have with my friend. And so when you subscribe to that idea, then you might be stuck in a situation like where Dr. Pierre is. Well, look, I have these people in my life that are my friends that I can depend on, but because I consider my friend this person right here, and my wife is out here in this box of people maybe that I can't depend on over here on this side of the box, then they can't go in. Now I'll give you this question, Dr. Pierre. If it was possible for you to have a conversation with your wife to the point where you could express and you guys can make it come in agreement to where she could shift her behavior so that you could actually depend on her, would you prefer that? Like, if that was an option, like, hey, maybe y'all come together, you have a conversation, and then he's like, hey, babe, you know what? I really would love to depend on you, but because of these things that have happened, I can't depend on you. So I don't consider you my friend because of these certain things. And I would love to have that kind of relationship with you. Would you be willing to shift your behavior and keep your word on this bill paying so that I can incorporate you into this level of my care or my life or my trust? Is that something that would like that you would see as an opportunity?
And while you're speaking, Bone Thugs and Harmony and Akon is playing through my head. Yeah, I've tried really hard, and that ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
I'm not asking if you believe it's possible. I'm saying, if it could happen, would you want it? Like, is that something that you would want if it could?
I would want to depend on my wife 100% for everything, right?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yes, so that's what I'm saying. Like, and this is not just for you, because I'm not just coming at you trying to give you counsel and stuff like that. But what I'm just saying is, everything is possible. Like, everything is possible. I want you human beings out there that are talking about relationships and friendships and all these things. Everything's possible, and any agreement can be made. We are all like mini gods that can create our world and create our reality. So you can have an agreement with someone that says, listen, my agreement with you is, if we have sex, I will pay this bill. That's an agreement. That's a relationship. Another could be, if I give you protection for you, I want you to cook for me. Like, that could be the relationship. And these could be two different people. These could be two different people. You can have any kind of relationship that you want. So now I would recommend individuals start asking, like, ideally, what would I want? Not what I think is possible, because we got all of this past trauma that tells us what's actually possible. We got all the movies and our own experiences. We got the society telling us this is what's possible. No, you can't be a friend and a best friend and a wife and a husband you can't have all of that. You can have your cake and eat it too. It is possible. You just got to be able to put it into work and like know how to be open and vulnerable. It's difficult, but it is possible. So I would always recommend for people to look at what's possible, like try to create that. And yes, they're human beings. We don't have integrity. So we will try, right? We will try and then we will fail. But we don't have to be discouraged by the failures. You failed. Come on. You're an athlete. You are a professional athlete. You know, we as athletes fail more than we actually succeed, but that doesn't necessarily stop us from competing.
Not me.
So I'm getting some questions here. One person asks if my wife is competing with my best friend, but they're getting it mixed up. It's separate. For instance, when we talk about dependable, I can't sit and have a business conversation with my wife. My wife is not business minded. She's employee, like she wants to be an employee. My best friend is business minded. You know, she's had a company. She has a company. She'll call me and we'll talk about different business deals, right? When she's getting ready to buy and sell property, she'll shoot me a text. What do you think about this?
Yeah.
Right? And so those are the type of relationships that we have. You know, we're not gonna sit down and talk about porn. That ain't our relationship. That's not what I depend on her when we talk about business. So individuals are saying, I guess what some of them mean, and they could express themselves better. so I can understand. You can't depend. Your spouse may not be that individual that you could sit down and
Yes,
say,
absolutely.
hey,
Absolutely.
the corporate taxes are due on March 15th. She might turn around and say, no, it's April 18th. Well, that's your personal taxes, right? But you may
Yeah.
have a friend that's into that may say, hey, don't forget March 15th. We have to get the corporate taxes in.
Yeah.
Guys, in my world, when you start dealing with money and every single second counts, you don't have the time, at least for me, to sit down and start saying, well, I want this person to be this. They
Yeah.
are what they are. And when you deal with them when that time comes, and then other times you get to with the professionals. Like I tell my son, if you want to learn about real estate, you don't go to Elon Musk.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go to Donald Trump, right?
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing with me and my relationships, right? I have my different females friends for different things, right? If I want to learn how to build a company and just keep expanding it, right? And have my hands in different things, I'm not going to go to Donald Trump because Donald Trump is only into real estate, right?
Yes.
I go to Elon Musk, right? So you have to have your Donald Trumps, your Elon Musk, your Bill Gates, your Steve Jobs, and please, if you want one person to be all of those, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Trashy.
Yeah, allow me to make that delineation. By the way, like I wasn't saying for people out there like that the friendship that you have with your wife or your husband has to be encompassing all of the important things in your life. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone because nobody is going to be the 100% like everything that you love to do, I love to do. Let's do it together, and then the things that you're good at and I'm good at, let's all do it together. We're all good at the same things. That's not realistic. That's not even practical, and I wouldn't recommend that. That's actually a healthy situation, by the way, for y'all out there that's saying, like, oh, well, is she competing because does your wife want to be the one that you rely on, and then you go into somebody else and you being honest with somebody else and you're leaning on them, and now they're jealousy. No, that's actually an unhealthy way to look at the situation. I would say, in my professional opinion, that is a healthy association to have with another human being. Like, hey, I know what you're great at. I know what we bond on. Let's communicate and gel on those things. The things that we don't bond on, I'm not going to require that of you. I'm not going to ask you to come to my jazz party when you like hip hop, right? Now we can have some jazz hip hop parties, but if you love hip hop, you don't have to come listen to my jazz. And if I love jazz, you don't have to come listen to my hip hop, but we could play Apex Legends together. Do we like the same video games? Do we like the same movies? And that's a healthy way to associate yourself with other human beings in your relationships. Like, yo, what things are we great at? Like when I'm talking to Jamari is a good friend of mine, right? But we don't talk about all the same things that he talks about with another friend of ours, Larry, or Larry doesn't talk about something like everybody doesn't have the exact same interests. And if we can just look at other human beings, not as attachments of ourselves or like extensions of ourselves, but as other awesome, like, circles that we can just now like incorporate the circle, part of the circles, the Venn diagrams of the parts that you like, that I like, and that we enjoy together, and then not put the pressure of that, then your actual, familial relationships, these kind of wedding, not weddings, but like, marriage, so to speak, these lifelong commitments can actually be healthy. They can actually be healthy regardless of what parts intersect. Now, I'll say something controversial. Some of those things could also be sex. You can literally have a lifelong partner that you don't have sex with, that you have a great sexual bond with somebody else. And that's possible. The same way you're like, hey, I can't talk about bills with this person, but I can talk about sex with this person. Right? And that person doesn't have to be your significant other.
Trashy, I definitely agree. One thing that we also got to pay attention to, that especially here in America, every relationship dynamic is going to be different. What works for Collins may not work for me. What works for Hamilton may not work for me. So yeah, we may find it funny that he tells his wife 100% of everything. But if it works in that relationship, if it works, it works. So it's not wrong if it works.
Yeah.
I'm never going to argue with someone about how their relationship works if it's working, and they're not complaining about it. I see what your Doc saying about, you are clearly saying you cannot depend on your wife. Collins bonding is not the same as. Okay, so I'm gonna help.
Let me get to Ms. Davis.
I'm not saying. Go ahead,
Ms. Davis. On my hand, right, I have Citizens Eco Drive watch, right? And by the way, I'm not wearing my white coat just to boast. I'm actually in my store, right? I'm in my store. So I'm
on. as a favor for his friend. Thank you.
Right? And I was working late, and I said, you know what? I'll come on. Right? So, but check this out. So I have an Eco Drive watch on. My wife buys all my watches. Right? She knows that as a work watch, I am not going to go to work with a Movado because she understands, and I have 2 Movados that she bought me. She understands that those, the simplest bonks you give them, they break, and you got to pay $250 to fix them. So she made sure that I have a work watch and a professional watch, my Movados, right? I would not tell my best friend, go to the store and buy me a watch. She wouldn't understand what kind of watch to buy or what occasion I'm going to use it for. So I depend on my wife for certain things, right?
Yes.
And other things I depend on my friends for, right? I think Ms. Davis, no, I'm sorry, ma'am, but no one woman is going to fulfill a man's every need. It's virtually impossible, right?
And
That's why
versa.
some women say, oh, he's a mama's boy. He's always running to his mama. There's something his mom is doing that you might not be able to do, right?
That's a fact.
He can tell his mom certain things
That's
that
a
he
fact.
cannot tell you, right? So for me, I guess my mom and my female friends, right? We can talk about like very interesting things that for me and my wife, I can't have a discussion. Like I said, corporate taxes. My wife has never owned a business. So when I say to her, hey, can you tell me where I could, I'm missing the EIN, where it is? She'll look at me like, huh?
That wasn't EIN, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's different.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I would say, human beings out there, man, if you start to just accept the possibility, right? Just accept it. You ain't gotta, look at it as law, but look at it as possible. Accept the possibility that you can have all authentic relationships in your life. Like every single relationship that you have can be authentic. It can be exactly what you want it to be. You just got to be responsible for it. You got to be open. You got to be vulnerable enough to tell, hey man, this is what I would like. If we're going to be, relating to each other in whatever way, friendship, whatever definition you want to give it. But if we're going to relate to each other, this is what I would like to be able to count on you on, like a business partner. Like you have to have this conversation with the business partner. Hey, listen, this is what I'm good at, and this is what the business needs. I don't have this part. Do you have this part? Can you do this thing? Are you able to handle this part of the business? If so, then yes, we can be business partners, right? Like I have friends that I know that I can go to and play a video game with. And I like my queen, I can't rely on my queen to play games with me, but I love video games. And so I got people that I know I can go to and be like, hey man, I want the experience of playing a video game. Will you share that with me? Can you give me this experience? Right. And then and all of those are going to have their ups and their downs, and they're going to have their breakings of words and things like that. But if you learn conflict resolution, learn how to talk about those things, and you can still have that relationship go on throughout the problems.
And I would say this, Collins, so people can understand relationships. So for those of you on the panel that have kids, right? We have 4 kids. I love all my kids, right? And I always tell my kids, we got a running joke in the house that if they were all hanging on the side of a cliff, who would I choose? I told them I'll just let them all go and start all over again, right? It's because although I love all my kids the same, I love all my kids. There's not one that I love more than the other, but all of our relationships are different with each other. Some I talk to more than I talk to than the other. Some of us have we're more relatable. Like my son plays video games, stuff like that. My daughter Sanaya, she's always in the room like a cave person. She never comes out of the room, right? And when we see her, I bully her when I see her. But all those relationships, although they're different, they're not competing against each other. None of my kids have to compete against each other because they all know that daddy loves them. So when your wife knows that you love her and she can be secure in the fact that we have a committed relationship, this ain't going nowhere. This is what it is, right? Then she can be secure in the fact that, oh, he can have other relationships because relationships are so different and dynamic with different people. I'm going to, like Colin said, I tell people all the time, Collins is probably one of my only friends outside of my brother and my sister that knows me out of all my friends. I can honestly be my authentic self with him. It's a fact, right? But I have other friends that we're still friends. We still get along, right? but those are different dynamics. So you should never, if your wife feels like your best friend is competing with her, then you may need to sit her down and have a communication, have a real organic communication with her and tell her, hey, this isn't nothing. And it could be something, if your wife feel like she's competing against your friends or your best friends, your wife can feel like she's competing against your job. Your wife can feel like she's competing for your attention from your dog. People all the time. And if you don't sit down and have that basic level of communication and establish what are the expectations of this relationship, and you should feel secure about this relationship because I am committed to you, I'm not going anywhere, right? Then now we have it all on the table. There is no competition when it comes to friendships. Collins is not competing against, even though I have more organic, authentic relationship with Collins, he's not competing against all my other friends. There's no competition. It's like when I want to call Collins on this, I'll call him. When I want to talk to my other friends on this, I'll call them. Me and my mom had a very close relationship before she passed, right? And Hampton knows, and Bo knows, that emptiness is still felt. It will always be felt because nothing can replace the relationship that I had with her.
Absolutely.
Against my mom. I'm a mama's boy, right? But there was no competition. No competition between them because I love them both and I need them both because they both provide something in my life that the other one doesn't. And that's okay. And that's perfectly fine. And that's what people have to realize. You're going to have all these relationships in your life, right? And you have to be able to let the person know, be secure about your position. And if you're not secure about your position, either I'm miscommunicating or you're misunderstanding. And so as long as I make sure I communicate, you're good. There's nothing here. We're just friends. And if you continue to misinterpret or read into the things, then you have the problem and not me. Sorry. Go ahead, Ham.
You're muted.
So yeah, the words thing, man. Okay, so friendships, relationships. So words to describe, the different relationships and stuff, friendships, whatever. You can also say experiences. If you want to say it like that, then how you talking Collins? You can always also say just experiences. You're experiencing everybody else's experiences, whatever situation you want it to be.
Go ahead. Do you do?
Oh, now I was reading Rodney Foster Jr. Since we're talking about friendships, are you guys cool with your spouse being a close platonic friend with the opposite sex?
I'm okay with it. I'm perfectly fine.
I'll actually go further. Like I'm the only poly one on this panel, at least poly. I'm good with my women being intimate partners with other people, right? So like anything is possible, man. Like, and what people don't understand is if you're jealous of somebody, like, because the reason why people don't usually do that is because of fear. It's just some kind of fear thing that's stopping this person from being free to do whatever it is. Some kind of fear is going on, right? And if you look at jealousy, and I like to explain to people, so people we don't understand a lot of our emotions, right? We don't understand where they're coming from and what the roots of them are. So, but I'll share what jealousy is. People will think that jealousy means, oh well, I think that person over there is taking my man and blah blah blah. No, this is what jealousy, because people get, like Jamar said, you can be jealous of your dog. All right, you could be jealous of somebody's job, an inanimate object, like an inanimate thing, a concept. You can be jealous of that, right? And so, what jealousy is on the core, the where for what all stems from for every single one of us is, I believe that thing is going to stop me from getting the thing that I want. That's what the core of jealousy is. That's why you can be, oh, that dog is going to stop me from getting the attention that I want, or that person is going to be with my man or be with my woman, and therefore that's going to stop me from being able to get access. Now, once you are completely solid in knowing that no matter what happens, that person is not leaving you, they're not going off, and not going to be with you, you're still going to get the things that you want from that person, your jealousy will disappear. You will, if you're knowing, you're solid, like, you know what? Yeah, that person going off and being intimately with somebody else is not going to stop them from being my man or being my woman or being my friend or being my partner, because our friends will do that same thing, what we call friends, using the definition that we know, that we've accepted in society. You won't be jealous of your friend. Like me, I'll be friends with Ham. Ham will go and spend time with his wife. I'm not going to be jealous of Ham spending time with his wife. Right? Now, a woman could be friends with a female friend and be jealous of how she's spending time with her male partner. And this happens a lot in like friendship circles among females, right? And then it's like, well, you're still going to be able to hang out. You're still going to be able to have your communications and things like that. It might shift. The dynamic might shift. But if you want some more time, then you just communicate that and then make a different deal. Like, hey, can we still have our Fridays? Can we still have our Saturdays? Can you guys work that out? I know you got your man and your man comes first, but first don't mean none. I can come second, third, fourth, or fifth and still get my time that I want. Be vulnerable enough to communicate your authentic wants, not your inauthentic wants, but the things that light you up. That's what authenticity is. Authenticity always lights you up, not compensate for your fear and now give me more boxes that I do to stop you from being afraid, because you still stay afraid in your boxes. You still stay afraid when your person say, hey, my commitment to you means you don't get to sleep with nobody else. But you're still afraid. I've been monogamous for most of my life, and I still dealt with jealousy in every single one of my relationships. I'm poly, and I do deal with jealousy some, but like way less, right? Because jealousy can't exist in poly relationships and leave left unchecked. So that's.
I want to zoom in on Dr. Pierre's face.
I'm just perplexed.
No, but
Every time he says the word poly, I'm just like, oh.
Well, for me, like, for me, it's easy because I'm 100% like secure with myself, happy with myself, content with myself, joyous with myself. I'm 100%. So, like, I don't need any relationship. Matter of fact, I have an inauthentic want to have no relationships. I prefer to be by myself. But it's inauthentic. It's just because I just want to avoid dealing with the humanity that comes with having a relationship, right? And so Jesse Darius says way better than me. I wouldn't say that it's really way better than you. I would just give you this challenge, Jesse, is that I've just practiced and put in more work in developing relationship skills more than you. That's it. It's like, it's not that I'm automatically a person that can just have great relationships. No, this is a learning process that I went through. That's all it is. Like, anybody can learn to run. Somebody might be just like, Usain Bolt, and if you go to the right training, you'll be a 9.5, but somebody else can eventually get to 9.9. It's still fast. You can still have relationships work regardless. We're not different, man. We're not different. Like, we have different ways that we deal about things, but at the core, every human being has fear. Every human being wants love, right? And so that fear blocks our love. And so if we work on our fears, then all of those insecurities can be dealt with accuracy and not trying to limit somebody else to compensate for our fears. Because it also doesn't make a difference.
I'm gonna come back to that question because I don't think I know Dr. Pierre answered it. Ham, did you answer?
So Bonika, how about you? Are you cool with your spouse being a close platonic friend with the opposite sex?
Oh, absolutely. One of my philosophies, if you want to know about a man, you go to a man. You want to know about a woman, you go to a woman. So yeah, I think that men should have female friends to go to when they need to understand their wife or their woman, and vice versa.
Yeah, and I would say.
What were you about to say to that?
No, go ahead, Ham.
Go ahead.
No. I was about to say, Jamal, you had something in your head. I want to see what you were going to say.
It's one of those things. It's very delicate. You understand? So one of the reasons why men are less likely, in my belief, to accept that is because men don't trust men to be just that, right? Your best friend, your best male friend, I'm gonna put it out here. I'm gonna have a Hamilton moment. Your best male friend, if given the opportunity, 9 times out of 10, if you got butt ass naked, he would sleep with you and feel nothing about it. He would do it. I'm not saying you, Dr. Pierre. You're not messing up your arrangement. What I'm saying is most men, and since men know this about themselves, see, now we're dealing with ourselves. Since men know this about themselves, they're like, hell no, you're not about to put yourself in that situation with this man. Who is this man? Right? And it also depends on a relationship that your man has with your friend. You understand? Like, most men can meet a man and know he ain't about his, like, nah, I don't trust that nigga. Something about him. Just the same way a woman knows when another woman likes her man. I'll be completely oblivious. Your woman like, oh, she like you. Like, no, she don't. She ain't trying to do nothing.
Nah, she do.
She do, and the man knows too. So it's a very delicate situation. And I would say the reason why, now culturally, I'm just talking about culturally here in America. Now in other countries, yeah, it can work. But you got to listen to what people listen to in our society. Mr. Steal Your Girl, I would sleep with your girl, I would do with your girl, I would steal your girl, I would your girl. Like, no, not mine. Sir, excuse me, no.
Ooh, I got a question there for you, Jamari. Is it that you don't trust the man, or is it that you don't trust the woman to stop the man if he's wanting to?
I know women, so we all know that if a man, I don't want to be ever, I think that a man's worst fear is he doesn't ever want to be put in a situation where a man try to force himself on his wife or his girl. Because now I already know I'm going to jail for life. Goodbye. I'm going to jail. That's it. It's over.
But I think it depends on who the person is from the opposite sex. Because I would say that my best male friends are my brothers.
It's true.
So if I need male advice, I'll come to Jamari, I'll come to Hammer, or I'll call my pop and say, hey, this, and that. So, and that's, they're my siblings. So that's what
do you believe that I would kill somebody?
I do. I
okay.
do. I believe
that's the whole point. I don't want to be put in that situation where I got to go to jail. But that's why I said it can definitely happen. It's a very delicate situation. I think culturally, it depends on the culture, because there are men that culturally will prey on your girl. It's just like, you can't, I grew up in a household. My pops told me, like, you don't leave your look. None of my friends can say any woman that I've ever loved and ever been with that they ever heard me talk about her in a sexual manner. Ever. I learned that from my pops. I never talk about the women that I'm with to other men. Never did it, never will. Secondly, you never leave your woman. My dad said 2 men can't be in the same house. No, I'm not leaving my woman in a house with another man. It ain't gonna happen. Nope. I got too much dog in me. Can't do it.
That's the other side of the coin, Collins. That's that.
Wait a minute. If you trust, all right, I don't know if Larry is still listening, right? And if he is, maybe he'll remember the story. I left Larry. Larry came home to my apartment. My ex-wife was there. Jamari, remember her? And Larry would shower in my apartment. I wouldn't even be home. I'd be at practice. Mm-hmm. And my ex-wife was home. You know what I'm saying? But because that was the best man at my wedding, right? Because I trust him so much, because he's my brother, right? Yeah. I would never think to myself, man, Larry might try to sleep with my girl, right, or my wife at the time. You know what I'm saying? I trust him, like that's the furthest thing from my mind. So to me, I think my best male friend, I don't have a problem with them being around my significant other, because, and I have like that's Larry to me, mm-hmm. Like I would safely say I don't think he would try that nonsense,
right?
Yeah. So and we he's done
it. So Rosemary says, and if that person is also in a committed relationship, does this create more safety or respect?
No.
Okay. So yeah, obviously I would say no, simply because people cheat on their relationships. They're committed relationships all the time. You know that monogamy is not natural. Nobody's actually fully monogamous. We don't get with a person and be like, I don't see any other booties. I don't see any other face. I don't see any other nothing. That's just not real. That's just not real. Like it's just, a woman doesn't get with a man and be like, you know what? I don't even think about sex with anybody else. That's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Even if it's a passing thought process, it's a lie. And I don't care who you are. You could be, you know, the nun. Nuns think of sex. Priests think of sex. And they probably think of it more than the average person. So I would say no. That wouldn't make a difference in the scenario of whether someone can be trusted or not.
Yeah, but I was told once told that the best person to cheat with is actually somebody that's in a committed relationship, because then they have something to lose.
Yeah.
So.
Because they're not gonna tell. They're not gonna come and tell like, hey,
they're not about to mess up their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Trishana Evans says, so what if your wife has a childhood friend that's a male and was in her life before you came around? Do you still have a problem with the friendship?
I never have a problem. Damn, Collins, no, I gotta get to that. I'm gonna let somebody else go to answer. Go ahead, Ham.
You're muted.
So what if your wife has a childhood friend and a male, like before you came around, and you said, okay. All right, man. So I'm two-sided, man. I'm two-sided. I see Colin's side. Collins, I see your side. I see it, right? And I can see me doing that. I can see that as a possibility. But also, I got dog in me too. Whoa. So I see the other side too, man. Where
Mark it down, Jamari, 131.07.
I see.
I see men like, and I know how men are, because I'm a man. I know I am. So the dude before got to go, because I know 99% of the time you just around because you're trying to do something and you just ain't done it yet.
Facts.
Just ain't done it yet. You're waiting for your opportunity.
Waiting for your opportunity. Now, I don't have a problem. With a spouse or friend having a male friend, right? I don't have that issue. I remember being in a relationship, not in my current marriage, but in college, and one of my ex's friends reached out to her, and I told her exactly what I told her. I said, he's going to try to holler at you, right? I said, he is going to try to holler at you. I said, I gave her the step. I said, first, he going to see like, oh, how's he treating you? Y'all good? You know? And then he's going to come on a little stronger. I promise you, it happened the exact same way. When she was on the phone with him, she's like, I said, I told you. Now, hey, I told her, I said, once that starts happening, gotta go. I'm going to give him some slack. But once he starts doing that, he got to go. Because again, like I said, it's culture. It's a culture thing too, where men are preying on your women. I've seen, not Collins, put that out there. I've seen some of my friends, not gonna put them out there, and I had a Jamaican girl. She had a little booty on her now. Yeah, sorry, babe. She had a little booty on her. Little booty. And I would see my friends, one in particular like this. Look, she walked, I'm leaving, and he like this. All in it. All in the cheeks. And I knew at that moment, I can't leave my girl around you, bro. Me, college knows me. My wife knows me. I never look at any of my friends' girls. Ever.
Nah,
I never do that. Ever in my life. I don't mess with another man's woman. I would never do. That's breaking a code for me. You know what I'm saying? Because another man will kill you for his girl. And I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I would kill you for mine. That's the only thing. People, why are you fighting over a girl? Well, I will fight you for mine. I'm sorry, guy. That's the only thing I'll fight for on this planet.
I heard.
Women. You understand?
I heard this.
For the women in my life. That's the only thing worth fighting for.
I heard this before. Oh. Yeah, I heard this before. So, all right, you there's a robber, like there's a carjacker.
Go ahead, Ham.
oh, there's a carjacker and he trying to steal your car, right? He over there, you know he over there by your car. Are you gonna allow him to try to break in your car? Or are you gonna stop him?
Well,
Say it again.
I'll say this.
The car.
Actually, we're gonna stop him, but I challenge y'all to this one. Why are we equating the ownership of a car to the ownership of a mate?
No. That's not what I'm saying. No. That's not about that. No. Listen.
Oh, this is
A
stupid.
car. No.
Just sit there, homie.
Listen. Because okay. I hate to say it like this. I'm gonna say it though. Hate to say it like this, but we gonna go there now. We're gonna go there. That's the only way I can explain how it feels for a man to see another man talking to his girl or trying to push up on his girl as a friend. It's the only explanation I can tell. Not exactly ownership. Not exactly
Giving you
ownership.
a little next generation thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not actually ownership, but that's how it feels like. Like you're not gonna allow somebody just to take your car. You know, they're gonna scratch it up, they're gonna mess it up. Like the same thing. Why are you gonna allow a man that you know likes your girl, wants your girl, and he's just pushing up, trying to crack the surge, kind of crack? She might break. You don't know. You don't know her. If you don't know her mind, like even if you do know her mind, if it's temptation,
if she breaks, isn't he doing you a favor?
Yeah, if she breaks,
you put her. Okay. Another question. Okay, question for you then. If you can't see somebody being tempted, or somebody trying to get at your girl, or know that they would get at your girl, and then get pissed off if she did something, and you didn't say nothing, and you saw it.
Hold on. So wait a minute. So what you're trying to say is that you're gonna keep the woman from ever being tempted. So how do you know that their loyalty is genuine?
You don't keep. Listen, you just say what you deal with and what you don't deal with. They're gonna do whatever they want to do. You say what you deal with, what you don't deal with. They do it, then you make your choice. You go. You leave. They ain't no controlling, or you just, if you ain't with that, then you go.
So I once heard a story, right? A very good friend of mine, a mentor, told me this story that it was two Jamaican friends. They grew. We went to high school together. One of them was married. He left his homeboy in his house in the guest room, and his wife was home. His homeboy slept with his wife. He said, to this day, both of them are still friends. He said, because the husband said to his friend, you just did me a favor. He's like, I would have never known the type of person I was married to had you not stayed over. Right. So and I agree with that philosophy.
So she's the type of person, okay. So since she betrayed you, she's now a type of person, her whole person is just, it's bad. Like she's just you don't make mistakes?
Mistakes. Okay. You don't make those because you slip, fell, and okay, all right. Okay.
You never made any kind of life of threatening mistakes in your life?
No, you don't make those. That ain't a mistake. That's an informed decision. You know what I'm saying? You know
it is. No, you're right. It is an informed decision. But what I'm trying to get at is,
all right, let me ask you a question. You're supposed your wife's friend comes over to sleep, right? And your wife says, "Okay, I gotta go to work now, right? Make sure. Wait, hold on. Make sure you get some breakfast." And then all of a sudden, you wake up like 9 o'clock in the morning, and she walks into your room with a towel on, and your wife ain't home, right? You have the choice now to whether or not you're gonna sleep with her, or you're gonna be like, "Look, you need to get out of here, pack your stuff, and go." You know, so what are you gonna do? If you sleep with her, we're gonna tell your wife, "Oh, that was a mistake." You know, it happened. No, it didn't happen. You was gonna cheat eventually. You just the opportunity.
Yeah, you're right. That's why it was a mistake. I mean, it wasn't a mistake. It was okay. All right, let me.
Go ahead, Bob.
Is a woman ever? A man is always attractive. When you get married, does your wife still have attraction? Is she still attracted to other men?
Of course. Absolutely.
All right, so the temptation is always there then. If she's attracted to another man, that means the right thing can happen. All it takes is the right time, the right moment for something to happen. Possible. It's possible. It's probably not probable depending on the woman, but it's possible. And since the possibility is there, why would you allow the guy to keep on making advances at your wife? But then you want her to be super strong that she got to deny. He over there breaking in the car. Eventually he gonna get through, right? He keep on hitting at the door and nobody's there to stop him. He gonna get through, right?
Not necessarily.
But you don't know. But you're giving him the chance to hit the wall.
Depending on how well that car is.
That's all I'm saying.
You know, but this is what I would say. I probably digress a little bit, but I want people to understand this aspect of it, and Collins will be able to understand it too, because when me and my wife first got married, one of the Bible verses that we had to learn was what it meant to be married. What did the Bible say about marriage, right? And even though I'm not a biblical person like that anymore, I still carry a lot of those truths in my life because that's how I was raised, right? So the Bible says that, well, Paul says in a marriage that a woman is to respect her husband and a man is to love his wife. And I always ask, like, dang, why the Bible don't say that the woman should love her husband? One, if we go back in those period of time, most marriages were arranged, right? But one of the things you have to understand, and why I got that dog in me, is because a man will fight for what he loves. If your man does not love you, he will not protect you. If your man does not love you, you hear the guy say this all the time, oh, you fighting over a girl? Then he don't love the girl that he's with, if he's not willing to fight for her. You understand? I'm not saying that. My wife knows she can talk to guys, she can talk to males, don't care, right? But she knows that they know that there's a dog behind that door, and she let him know that my husband's missing a couple screws, you know. And so all men know, like, yo, I'm gonna give you that leeway out of respect. You understand? Even when I'm talking to a woman, you can ask anytime if I'm going to Kavon's house and Kavon greets me into his house, and I see his wife and him, I greet her and I look at her, but I direct my conversations back to him out of respect for the man, because I'm looking at him as her protector, not just a provider, her protector. You understand? And that is a lot of the respect that men don't have today. Why I don't trust men is because they don't have that same type of respect to other men. Their whole goal is, your wife, I will do that. Well, there's gonna be consequences then. They're not telling you in the song there's consequences for that. You know what I'm saying? And so I understand the dynamics. See, Collins not saying that. I want y'all guys to understand this too, what Collins is saying. Just because Collins is poly and he's saying it's okay for his woman to engage in sexual interaction with other men, he's not saying that he's not going to protect her.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
He's not. You get what I'm saying? That is what, again, like I tell people this all the time. If you study marriages around the world, in well, I'm not going to say ancient Indian culture, when a woman married a man and he had brothers, she was married to all of the brothers.
Yeah, that's biblical too.
You get what I'm saying?
Not just Hindu, not Indian.
Even in Ireland, when they got married, if his brother died, he would then go marry his brother's wife.
Yep, because you got to bring
African cultures too. The wife will be, if his brother died, the wife will come under his protection.
Yep.
So these concepts are all ancient and old. They're not new. Mm-hmm. It just, the only thing that we're dealing with is we've all been conditioned to think a specific type of way from your parents, from what you listen to. And this is why I say that I will have some reservation when it comes to certain men in my wife's circle, because based on what they are adhering to and bringing into their mindset about what they think about women. Most men don't even have genuine respect for women. most men are misogynistic because they don't love their moms. That's an absolute fact, right? Their moms have been getting their head beat in by 5, 6 other men, and that boy grew up watching his mom getting a head beat in, and guess what? Now he doesn't respect women. He may say he loves having sex with women, but he doesn't respect women. He's actually a misogynist. And Denisha says her blood pressure is peaking. Then let it peak. Let your blood pressure peak.
Hey, Denisha needs to get on here, man. Denisha,
Yeah, man.
She's scared. Listen, first of all, Denisha is scared. I sent her the panel doggone link. She's scared. So from now on, we're not going to put Denisha's comments.
No,
No.
I like Denisha's comment. Don't do it like that. Don't block her for difference of opinion. She should be able to speak her opinion.
No. I like her comments.
Yeah, Denisha should be able to.
Tell her to come on. Tell her to come on. She's scared. She's scared.
Yeah, come through, Denisha. We love your perspective. But Mika, though, you had something to say before, but I be loving here when you speak because like you bringing a perspective, man.
I was saying to my first.
Okay, but Denisha,
to the doctor, when you said the thing about the 2 Jamaicans and they were friends because now he know how the woman is, but now you know how your friend is too.
I don't.
Yeah,
but
now you know that you can't trust your friend around any of your women. So I don't even understand why you was still okay. But I mean, if you follow that, that's fine. That's your business. But for me, I was looking at that like, oh, y'all all crazy up in here. But
hold on. Let me direct this. It's not about it has nothing to do with having a clear conscience. It's based on how I was raised and how I respect other men's women. It's just how it is. I just don't get around, because let me tell you something. What I've learned, buddy, is this. I've seen, and I'm not going to put their names out, but I've seen friends, and we went to a gathering, and we were introduced to one of our friends' girls. I said hello, and I sat down. I was on my way, did my thing. The other friend decided to engage with my other friend's girl, just talking, just rambling at the mouth. I'm looking at my other friend, and he's not liking what he's seeing. He's not liking what the other friend is saying, because one of the reasons why, buddy, is not because I'm afraid of looking at her. I do not want my friend to misinterpret anything that I do, so I shut it down. I don't want any misinterpretations when it comes to him and his girl in that relationship. I just don't want it. I've seen it happen so many times. And for it to say something about not having clear, it's just for me, it's just common courtesy. It's just, it has nothing to do with me. It's not like that. I just don't want to have any misinterpretations when it comes to my friends. And anybody knows that when I have friends, Collins knows, I'm that dog. I'm that dog. I'm that true blue. We can argue all day. Huh?
Your conscience could be clear, but you don't know what he's thinking based off whatever he's seeing, his perception of what he's seeing.
Oh, perfect example. Give me this real quick. I wish Steffi was on here. I'm gonna try to make this story very short. So I got we got a sports brand, and we go into this boxing ring, this ex-boxer. I'm not gonna put his name out there, but he's like a Polish boxer, something like that, right? Professional, was one of a kind. So he has a boxing ring in North Miami. So my wife knows the story. So we have a meeting about getting my sports brand, him into his boxing academy type thing. So he sets up a meeting. He says, "Hey man, come. You can speak to me and my wife about having your stuff in here." So the next day we go in there, and this was awkward. If you read body language, I read a body language book, and the seating, which is awkward. So he placed himself to the far right, and she was directly in front of me. So when I'm talking to them, I got to keep shifting my body to make sure I'm giving them equal viewership, right? And you know, anybody that knows me, I got the gift of gab. I'm really going in. I'm doing my business talk to the.
I remember this story.
I'm doing my business talk 1,000%. I'm at 1,000%. My guy Steffi next to me, he's hit me on the side. He's like, "Man, you doing this thing?" I'm like, "I'm doing it." This dude immediately gets up and says, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you do, you got to talk to me. Don't talk to her." I'm talking about out of nowhere. And he says, "I see what you're doing, my girl. You doing this and talking this and doing this." I'm like, "Sir."
No.
So she's looking embarrassed. She's completely embarrassed. Mind you, this guy's like 6'5", 200 something pounds. You understand? Like 250 at least, right? You know, I ain't gonna put my boy up. My boy ready. Just know my boy ready, right? So I had to tap Stephanie like, "Yo, chill, like chill." And I'm looking at this guy and I'm trying to understand where everything went wrong. I'm like, where is this coming from? So he gets up and walks out of the warehouse. She's looking at me. So she begins to engage some more, like just talking about the best. I say, "Excuse me, I can't. Let me go see what's up with him, because I don't want to disrespect him, continue talking to you." And he's highly upset. Like he approached me in an aggressive manner. And I just remained calm. So I went out there, he's pacing back and forth. And I say, "Hey man, what's going on?" Like, he's like, "You up there talking to my girl?" I said, "Sir, I was talking to both of you and we're talking business." I said, "What does it look like me coming on to your girl in front of you, right in front of your face? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And we're talking about shirts, man." And he's like, he's getting mad. So I finally I said, "Man, listen, I'm married.
Is that one dude? The
Yeah,
girl?
yeah.
Oh.
I said, "Sir, I'm married. I got kids, man. I'm not even come on, man. I'm here about business. I'm trying to make money, man." You know, he calms down. He's like, "Okay, good, man. You know, it's all good." And we take a picture. I got off it. We take a picture. And as we walking out, Stephanie looks at me and said, "We're not doing business with him." I said, "Hell no." And I tell that story just to show you how he saw something that wasn't even there
from you.
from me.
Yeah.
But I know what it was. I told you before. I know what it was is that he's kind of slow. Like when it came to that business talk, his girl could talk that business talk with me. You get what I'm saying? So he couldn't really follow. So he's thinking like, damn, like my boy Kavan said, like we're having that level of engagement that she probably can't have with her husband, but she's having that business talk with me, and he's now feeling insecure.
That jealousy Collins was talking about.
Right? And so again, it's not about having a clear conscience or not. Anybody who knows me knows I always got a clear conscience. I'm good. I don't ever hit on nobody, girl. I'm good. I'm good with mine. I don't pull. Collins know me from college. I don't pull the best of them. I'm never worried about that. Never worried about that. But I'm never going to disrespect another man's woman ever. Collins knows a story about my ex. When she had a man, she chilling. I said, you got to go break up with your man. We can't talk. What you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you in front of my face and you with somebody? Go deal with that and then come back with me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. All right, let's go. Go ahead, Bo. My fault. It just got me.
I was just gonna say it's a respect thing. I don't. When he says that's from Middle Eastern, you got to understand how we were raised. We were raised to be respectable, and the same way that he's with a female and stuff like is the same way I am with with a man. I don't talk about my man to my girlfriends in certain ways, and no, when I leave, all the females in the house got to go with me. No, you're not staying with my man. No, we don't do that, because yes, there's temptation, but also I'm not going to allow that in my house either. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to put temptation in your face. There's no need for me to do that. So yeah, it's a respect thing for us. We just
hold on. Let me address it. I'm not looking past her. I'm not disrespect. It's not a disrespectful. I'm not looking past her. I'm acknowledging this person. You understand? Y'all take. I'm gonna cut y'all out, man. Y'all.
And then
it's a respect. Yeah, it's a respect thing. It's not that you're not. There's no reason for you to sit there and be staring at somebody's wife when you're having a conversation with the man. That makes no sense. And I would feel something if my man is standing there and this guy is just staring at me and looking, but you talking to me, I'm gonna walk away. Like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all handle this, and I see, I see you later, or I'll be over there if y'all want to talk or whatever, something like that. I'm not just gonna stand there, but no,
Somebody
it's your
says,
intentions at
we
the end
all
of the
mute
day.
our mics. I'm sorry, Bo.
No, it's okay.
Respect is key. I agree, Jamal. All I'm saying is calling your friends' feelings doesn't equal respect. I'm not coddling. Okay, so I want you. I was raised in a military background, so growing up, I had to say yes or no, sir, no matter what. I had to respect people, even if they disrespected me. My dad always said, if they disrespect you, you let me handle it. You make sure you do what you're supposed to do. So when I get there, I can just beat some ass. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's not just about respecting them. I'm respecting myself as well. I'm not coddling. I'm not like doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. That's how I was raised. And they're just, like I said, I'm not doing it just solely for them. It's about how I was raised. So I think Kavan said it on one episode. He said, treat others how you want to be treated. Right. So I demonstrate that. Well, in teaching, they call it modeling behavior. Right. So I model that behavior. So let's not say I expect it. I model that behavior. So at the same time, somebody says, okay, well, that's how Jamari interacts with my wife. He could do the same thing with me as well, right? So I'm just modeling behavior that I want to see in the world. And I think, again, if we're all respecting each other's wives and each other's relationship boundaries, instead of listening to like I said before, if you listen to our music, if you listen to what the media says, everything's about messing with another man's wife. Every time I hear, I'm like, oh, I don't get like, do you want to die? Like there are a lot of people getting murdered because you did something to that man's girl or wife. Like, is it that serious?
Yeah, I
I
get
got
that.
a question to those, not to the panel necessarily, but to those writing in. I want to know what makes you think it's okay for a man to stand there and just be goggling somebody else's wife, or to be alone with somebody. What makes you think that's okay?
It's not. Rosemary, I would say this too. And I work at a mortgage branch where it's predominantly Hispanic. So Hispanics greet each other differently, right?
Yeah,
So
they do
you
the hug and the
the
kisses.
hug, the kiss on the
Yeah.
cheek, right? It's
Yeah.
not long and it's like, so like I said, it's culturally is different. And I'm gonna always just make sure I'm doing my best to not give off anything or disrespect another man's wife, because especially when you deal with other cultures, you have no idea what you're doing with that person, or if they will find it disrespectful, right? I know Collins. I know how I can approach Princess. I know how I can talk to his queen, right? How I can speak with her. I can talk to her like I'm talking to Collins.
Yep.
Because I know me and him had that rapport. Me and him had that relationship. He knows me. So he knows there's nothing that is even going to cross my mind. Like, so I can have that. Just, hey, Princess, what's going on? I could do all that stuff. But if I don't know you like that, and we don't have that type of relationship, no.
Yeah, it's called erring on the side of caution. Just assuming, because there's before we go off, I'd like to give this tool to people out there that when dealing with conflict or when dealing with situations in life, there's three perspectives at play at all times. There's what you believe that you're doing. It's what, like, the perspective of what you believe that they're doing, like the agreement that you would believe that person's doing. And then there's also the world's agreement, right? Where you have your intention, it's their interpretation of your intention, or your interpretation of what their interpretation is. And there's what is the world's agreement of this scenario? And it gives you a higher perspective. So Rodney Foster Jr. says, I get what Jamari is saying. When I have meetings with artists, I'm a musician. I have asked that husband, boyfriend be there, so the man can meet me and know it's all professional. Yeah, that's one of those things, because the world's agreement around, as if he's a musician, the world's agreement around that scenario is that when that girl goes in there, it's a casting couch situation. That's the world's agreement.
What's right? Casting couch?
Casting couch is like, okay, if you want to have business with this person, most likely some sex is gonna happen. like during that thing. There's a world's agreement that like, hey, that producer is probably smashing that artist, and that's how that artist gets access to that producer's music, right? So there's a world's agreement around that. Like that, the people just like, oh, they automatically assume. And so because that's an automatic assumption, if that's something that goes down, what Rodney would do to kind of mitigate that scenario, even though his intention might be just, I'm just about my business, right? He's compensating for the world's agreement that that's a shaky situation for the woman to be in. And so, like, is he going to be trying to get at my girl in exchange for his music, right? And so, dang, these are coming up so quickly. Yeah, so Denisha Davis says, at Rodney Foster Jr., that's smart. Protect yourself. There was one more comment that, before that I didn't get to read, Jamari.
My fault.
Yeah, and so Denisha Davis says, we already addressed this. Men know, women know when someone is attracted to their husband, wife. You know, greeting someone is not crossing boundaries, right? So it's like it's so important for us to compensate for that aspect of the world's agreement and not just be in our own perspectives, because think about the other person's perspective and then think about what generally what would somebody believe in this situation, and then you can navigate a lot a lot more with more integrity in life and then have less conflicts. So Rosemarie says, Collins, it's crazy out here. Our marriage requires a lot of trust. And yes, it does, and so, and I'll give this other nugget. That trust thing, when you're talking about whether it's a person's going to sleep with somebody or not, that really comes down to their word and their actions that follow their word. Like, it's not even about sex, because before that person even has sex with somebody else, up until that point, they haven't had sex with that person, but that trust cannot be there. But if somebody says, hey, I trust, it's a perfect example that Dr. Pierre said, which was like, yo, I can't trust that you even going to pay this bill.
Yeah, I never said I can't trust. I just know it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, yeah, if this person says, what I'm saying, if the person says, hey, I'm going to pay the bill. I'm sure at one point in time, that person agreed, right? Like your wife agreed, yeah, I'm going to pay the bill, honey. And then he didn't get paid, right? Or did you just assume out of nowhere?
Well, no, it didn't get paid. Yeah.
Right. So there was an agreement made. She broke the agreement, which broke the trust. And then after that, no?
It's just not her to pay bills, because she didn't grow. Like, for instance, when I was 15, not before that, by the time I was 11, 12, 13, my parents would give us the money and say, hey, pay this bill, pay that bill. Yeah. So we got that level of, okay, I need to pay this, I need to pay that. Because if they come home and the electricity turn off, woo,
you in for it. They were training you.
Yeah, so she just didn't have that growing up. So it's hard. It was hard to build that into her. But so I started working slowly with stuff. But important stuff like my phone, right? Because phone is for business. I can't afford for it to go off. Like sometimes I'll be talking on the phone good, and then I'll leave the house and I start driving, and all of a sudden I try to make a phone call. And the phone is out. I'm like, dang, it's the 16th.
But consider the possibility that those interactions are the scenarios that I'm talking about, where like, okay, I don't know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So if one of the things you said you were going to do was pay the bill, okay, that's one thing. But like, oh, wait a minute. One of the other things you said you were going to do was be committed to me for the rest of your life and honor me and respect me when we said our vows. These are other words that came out of your mouth. Now, these other things start to be like, oh, well, which one of these words are the things that I can see that you're going to do, and which are the ones that we're not. And that's where the breakdowns start to happen, when our words get broken. And not that you're going to be able to keep your word all the time, but one of the things that I teach is, and I also learned in Landmark Forum, was that the distinction between, like, you keep your word, you break your word, you honor your word. These are three different things. So you keep your word is you say you're going to do something on Tuesday, you do that thing on Tuesday. Breaking your word is you said you were going to do something on Tuesday, you don't do that on Tuesday. And then you've broken your word at that point. Honoring your word is you say you're going to do something on Tuesday. Tuesday comes or Wednesday comes, like, hey, I said I was going to do. You honor it, because what we like to do a lot of times is go over the fact of the thing that we did that broke the code or broke the trust or broke the word. We don't acknowledge that. And then they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And then we'll bring in all these excuses why we broke our word. And it's like, yo, I don't care about your excuses. We don't care about each other's excuses. We just want to know, what are you going to do to stop that situation happening again? And when that doesn't happen, that trust breaks down, right? So that's where my women, they all know, like, look, Colin says he's going to do something. He going to do it. And if not, he going to communicate usually beforehand that he's gonna break it, and if not, he's gonna figure out something. And that's the thing. So when I say, yeah, man, I'm not gonna cheat on you, or if I'm gonna have sex with this person, I'm gonna have sex with this person with a condom. Or if I'm not going to leave you for this person, I'm not going to leave you for this person. They know that, because when I said I was going to make dinner, I made dinner. When I said I was going to do this, I did this. When I said I was going to do that, I did that. So you know that anything I say, if I say to the point where one of these days I'm going to say, yo, I can fly. I'm going to go out this building. I'm going to jump off and I'm going to fly, and I will fly. That's how strong I want my word to be. I'm not doing it right now. I'm not crazy, but you can get to the point where you have miraculous words being able to be spoken. You can do it, and it happens. It's like I say chair, and I say the word chair, and a chair falls out of my mouth. That's how like bonded I want to be to my word. And so that when you do that, you can say things to anybody. You can make any agreements, and they know that you're going to honor it. These are the flip sides of like why it's possible to have like relationships with multiple people and have these things, because you got to have a different level of integrity. You have to have a different level of communication. That ain't for it's not for everybody. Most people shouldn't be in a relationship with anybody else. Period.
I like that. I really like that.
You know, it's difficult. Like it's difficult to have that, to live that life. But when you do,
Collins,
benefits are so much.
We
better.
gotta bring. Listen, this is what she wants to do. See, she's doing this.
Come on, yeah.
She's scared to get on, man. She's
come
scared.
on. We don't like.
You need a map. You said you got lost. Okay, you can write in, Denisha. What do you think? Like, what exactly lost you?
Buddy, I'm not even gonna post that, buddy. I'm not even going. You're not gonna do my guy like that. You not
no. Post it.
Yeah, let's see.
Post it. Let the people's comments be said. Oh, you.
He said post.
He said Dr. B look like Malik Yoba.
You don't like no Malik Yoba.
Yoba was a good star back in the day. Yeah.
Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm here.
You hear, boss?
Yeah, he here, man. So, anyways, you said you got lost, Denisha. Like, let us know in the comments. But I'll try to clarify and make it succinct.
No,
you don't have kind of relationships where you have like longevity and lifelong.
Colin, she just pulling your chain, bro.
You gotta have. I mean, just in case of somebody after that, I'm talking about like futuristic levels and ancient levels of conversation and commitments in relationships.
Give me like we're going to the commercial. Give me 20 seconds. You got 20 seconds.
Yeah. So just to say, listen, if y'all want to have relationships that work, and regardless of the situations that come up, you got to start working on your word to yourself and to others. Once you start doing that, you're gonna have a different experience. And people know they can trust your word, then you can do all kind of amazing things with your life. Rosemary says, and for the record, I'm
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm great at self-blocking, LOL, especially if someone is hitting on me and they are fine too. I get real weird, run off, talk about hubby all out. And that's a great tactic, man. Like, hey, start trying to make yourself as unattractive as possible in those moments. But well, as human beings, we got to evolve really to have working relationships, and we're at that state where you can do it, but it's just not probably for most human beings. I'll end my last thing by saying, if you're a human being, you probably have a 99% chance of you shouldn't breed and you should not be with anybody yet. Start working on yourself and you solidify yourself and you're solid in that. You got your relationship with God, Most High, Creator. You from there, then you got a working system within yourself. You know yourself. Then consider that. But before that, you're just gonna be spreading trauma. You sharing trauma with somebody else. You worried about STDs. I'm worried about spiritually transmitted diseases, and that's what y'all all got. Start working on that.
All right. Any closing statements? Because we in a 2-hour mark, man. Y'all, the comments kept us going. Hamilton, what you got to say for the people? Are we doing outros? We closing out? What you got?
Oh yeah, we should.
Like I said, check out Jay Samaj's music. Coming soon. That's all.
Dr. Pierre?
Yeah, the last thing I want to say is, guys, I don't think that you should expect anybody to be everything. You're everything. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
For me, there are a lot of things I could depend on my wife for. There's some things I can't. Over the years, I've got to know her, right? I know her strengths. I know her weaknesses. And I'm not going to ask her to make her weaknesses become strength.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So wherever she's weak, I'll work with that.
Yeah.
Take it and make arrangements, plan around it. Wherever she's strong, I'll work with that also, right? But just as an outro, if you're looking for affordable medication, guys, 5rxpharmacy.com. You could give me a call. You could actually send me a message through the website. We have meds that are extremely inexpensive. For instance, morning after pill. You can't find it anywhere, right? Try as an experiment. Go out tomorrow and look for a morning after pill. It's $40, $45. If you call me up, you got a credit card, I could send it to you for $15. Okay, you can't beat that. Okay, for those nights that you might forget the condom home. You know, so yeah, reach out to me. Birth control, $10. Right? If you don't have insurance, better for me. Right? So give me a call. Go to the website, check me out. Go to our Google reviews, check me out, and we're here for the community. One of these days, Jamari was talking about doing a segment on small businesses, and it would be good because Jamari was speaking about business tonight, just to talk to people about how to start a small business, and I could talk a little bit about corporate taxes and stuff that businesses can save you. Right? It's something that we don't learn in school, right? So with that said, that's the end of it tonight for me. Again, don't expect your significant other to be your everything. Just enjoy what they bring to the table and work with them.
Yes. Everything frugal. Bomika, let them know what's up.
Oh, my last statement is relationships are important, and if you're in a healthy relationship, that's good. But always remember to have your own identity in your relationship. One of the biggest problems people have in marriages and everything else is that they get caught up with their marriage identity or their coupleism and they don't know who their self is. Always know who you are and always and nurture that. Always, who you are. But thanks again for having me. Follow me on Everything Frugal, the blog. A lot of new things coming up. Stay tuned. And have a blessed day. Or night.
Join the Facebook group. Everything.
Yeah, make sure all the descriptions of everybody that's on the panel. Remember, one of the things that I want to do with the online cookout to make sure that everybody that's on the panel is actually doing something. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to be on the panel, you have something going on in your life. You're a business person. You got a blog. You got a small business, and you want to be able to get your voice out here. Remember, so if you're not on social media, if you're not letting people know what services or products you have, then you're not going to be able to sell your products and services. Everything is online. So get your face out there. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to put out online cookout to get people discussing good things, having fun. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it fun. Don't take us seriously. Go Google your research. We're just having fun. We out here just talking. Okay? We at the picnic. Okay. Like I said.
Oh, hey. Somebody said you need counseling. We need counseling and therapy. I'll provide that. That's what I do.
He does provide that.
So
I will have all the descriptions will be, all their information will be in the description below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. I know it's long as hell because y'all just kept us going, which was fun. I had a fun night. But share it, ladies and gentlemen. Share this video so we can definitely impact our community, because that's the main thing that we all want to do. This was a great conversation, guys. I appreciate you, Jesse. I appreciate you, Trayshana. I appreciate you, Rosie. I appreciate you, my wife. She's always holding it down for the team. I appreciate you, Rodney. I appreciate TV Trash, and he was in earlier. Denisha, I appreciate you, buddy. Who else? Let me scroll through. I appreciate everybody that made this night a very fun, eventful event. So, on that note, we're signing out. Talk to you soon. Online cookout. You know what it is.
Yes, sir.